Hi everyone, welcome to the 10th session in the No More Week Technology Conference. I hope you're all really enjoying the session so far and finding really insightful knowledge on the role of tech in ending domestic and sexual violence. My name is Sarah Walker. I am the Business Development Manager here at No More. Before we dive into today's session, I just want to acknowledge that there may be some topics that are triggering for some people, and if you need any support, there is the No More Global Directory, which you can find at nomoredirectory.org to find specialist domestic abuse and sexual violence services. Today, we are taking a closer look at an inspiring journey to the creation of the mobile game Way Out and its ambitious mission to challenge and dismantle rape culture. Today, I am joined by a special guest, Daniela Steinfeld. Daniela is a New York-based, award-winning filmmaker, actress, activist, and entrepreneur, originally from a small village in Serbia. She is the director and producer of Hold Me Right, a powerful documentary that delves into the aftermath of sexual violence. Beyond her work in film, Daniela is the creative force behind the video game Way Out, designed to confront the root causes of sexual harassment and foster empathy. Thanks so much for joining. I would love to first start with what exactly is Way Out? What is your mission? Who is it for? What does it look like?
Way Out is a mobile game with a mission to, with action and adventure of a video game, to bring people closer to improve compassion and address biases when it comes to sexual harassment. So I was making my documentary "Hold Me Right" that you just mentioned about the aftermath of sexual trauma, and from my experience as a survivor of sexual violence as well, and from people that I interviewed in a film, I started to realize that if kind of there is a very narrow path for survivors to go through that we are not prepared to after this horrendous crime that we have survived, which is that once we ask for help, the chances are that we might get even more harm by asking that help. Secondary victimization. And I saw this kind of journey of like opening doors and reaching up for help, and being slammed with shame, disbelief, silence, more harm from the environment, and implying responsibility onto victim. And I saw this as a kind of a lonely path, and this started to look to me like a hero's journey, where kind of you just don't know if you say if it's a world of video games. If you open up a level or a challenge, you don't know whether this is going to be a good for your journey or not. And that was the first time that I was just like kind of my strong passion and desire to explain this to public that don't understand what we are going through, therefore kind of perpetuating prejudices and kind of biases when it comes to what is the experience of sexual violence. I was thinking that maybe with the kind of a storyline of a hero's journey, maybe placed in a video game, this could be explained a little bit more. And I'm not a video gamer myself, but just with a little bit of research, I realized that the youth is there. This is their world, and more so that if we ought to address prejudices and biases, the biggest problem of preventing and educating about causes and consequences of sexual violence is the fact that just people don't want to talk about it. It's so uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to even within our communities to admit how much we don't know, what we don't know, and what we know perhaps wrong. So I thought that maybe some kind of activated but yet safe and confidential space where we can unlearn, experientially unlearn on our kind of safe turf of perhaps a world of us in a story of within a video game, maybe that could be interesting way to approach preventing this problem. And more so, my biggest wish is to kind of when it comes to advocating against sexual violence is to bring closer to young men. And they really like action and adventure of a video game. So I was thinking that if I give them kind of challenges and all the fun and engagement of a video game, and in a stealth way introduce topic of sexual harassment, perhaps this might be a way out.
Love that. I'd love to know, is there something in your personal journey and your healing journey that helped you and you wanted to channel into this game and the solutions it offers?
I guess so I've survived rape. It will be 11 years ago by a powerful politician back in my home country, Serbia. And I left everything I had, which was a beautiful and successful career as an actor, and I fled to the United States, basically seeking for safety and getting away from this horrendous crime that I was victimized. And finding myself in a new environment without any support system, basically no external resources and no internal resources, because I was so traumatized and I started to suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. The secondary victimization, basically kind of getting back to sense of safety, safe to trust the environment again that I didn't know. There was nothing really familiar. Was so profoundly difficult and challenging, and I think that experience of not having safety or trust or anything familiar really kind of left a mark on me, and kind of a stark insight on that one thing is to survive sexual violence. One thing is to kind of get to safety, and then there is this kind of a hidden, actually unsafe world that survivor yet to discover. So this was kind of my focus, was always to focus on the aftermath and focus on the reactions of bystanders. That bystanders, that was my focus, and this is how the positioning of the story that we have in A Way Out is a story of Anna, that is a teammate in our fire rescue mission. This is a world of firefighters. We thought that this is so interesting because firefighters are such heroes, yet there's no violence, and I was very keen to create a kind of a very how should I say, adrenaline driven game, but I didn't want to promote or incite any kind of violence. So I thought the fires were really good. So we meet our character Anna as a player, that it will eventually, if we earn her trust, confide in us that she has been sexually harassed in the past. So I didn't want to create any kind of like a graphic or I didn't really want to impose kind of a current violence, because one of the important missions that I would like to spread is that, like, it's not really important what has happened to us. It's important for us for now, for people to believe us. So this is why the story setting took place in that way.
I think I love all of those decisions, and I really love the fact that you're not re-traumatizing anyone through this game or showcasing or glamorizing violence in any way by focusing on the firefighters. I wanted to ask you, how much of your personal journey has influenced the way you've shaped the main character, Anna, in the game?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm sure that subconsciously, yes. I actually was trying to be kind of go away from myself and observe the issue as a whole, and just honestly being devastated how much women of color suffer violence, but statistically so much more, and they get so much less help and less kind of less resources and less support from communities. I decided to put Anna as a person of color, and this is you caught me off guard, because I'm thinking like um I my reaction to trauma was I was very secluded, very fearful. Anna's reaction to trauma, that she definitely is toughen up and overly toughen up and overly standoffish. So I think that this is, I think that I'm picturing Anna as maybe some journey that I maybe wish for myself to kind of the powers and that I wish to have had, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. And thank you so much for sharing. I think now would be a good time to show people what the game looks like. So here we get to see your leading character in the game. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how the game works and how it specifically combats rape culture.
Positioning player as a support role, as a healer role, that was again, as I say, very important to me for the players to gain the tools and experience in a game to be support and how to be a compassionate, active bystander. Instead of potentially re-traumatizing and putting a story of certain kind of a violence and trauma onto the player. I didn't think that was needed, and putting a player in a support and ally role to earn the trust of teammates, so that they confide in them and keep on confiding in them about help that they need in the aftermath of sexual harassment. I thought that can actually solve kind of a big, I guess, culturally divisive kind of communities on this spectrum. One is kind of survivors that is hard for them to speak out and gain trust to seek for help and healing, and on the other hand is folks that don't really know or don't care to know, or that they don't care to even think about that these violence exists, and what are the consequences of them being actually unconsciously active participants in promoting rape culture. And so that was one of the important things to me, and then we can move on to a next slide that's kind of specifically the method of way out that I was thinking that it could be trauma informed, non-traumatizing. It's kind of equally can work as an empowerment for survivors in silence, and an amazing tool of improving compassion and removing prejudices and biases for folks that have not been in situation to get themselves educated about this issue. And I was thinking that, like, if we ought to kind of dismantle the belief system and unconscious biases when it comes to rape culture that we were all born into, it's important for there's not to be punishments in the game, because I think that can just kind of dissuade the player, and just like I don't want to play with, like, I kind of we all want to be a hero in our journeys, right? I didn't think that there are kind of, when it comes to sexual harassment training and interventions, there are very often what I see is kind of do's and don'ts. Here is some kind of situation that is that is completely kind of outside of kind of sitting in a vacuum, out of the real life context. And this is what you do, this is what you say, this is what you don't say. And I found it that it was so kind of sturdy, it just not, and it's just kind of, first of all, it's just not truthful to our experiences, and therefore ineffective. So we positioned everything, all of the narratives and dialogues, basically choice-based journey and story, on social emotional intelligence, and just focusing on basically practicing social emotional competencies. So there are not right and wrong answers. There is a kind of, you experientially like try to guide and make your choices, and then you kind of, you as a player, you will see whether this works or not by whether you are feeding or not feeding the connection with Anna, and you can see that with the trust meter. And if you are an amazing teammate and you keep your trust meter at 100, Anna will feel empowered, will feel engaged, will feel that she can trust you, and will be an amazing engineer in a fire rescue mission. And if you kind of, you will be like, kind of, I don't really care about your experience, or kind of get over it, this already happened, and like what am I to do with it? If you don't understand that like she's really asking for your help and she doesn't want to be alone, and how actually profoundly difficult it is to go through the aftermath of sexual violence, then she's gonna be like, okay, we are stranded in this island on fire, I'm not gonna risk my life to help you, you're on your own, trust meter down. So basically this is kind of consequentially into the gameplay condition of compassion and allyship into the results of your gameplay.
I think that focus on trust and safety for Anna and her responses is so clever in this game. And I'd love to know a little bit more about the science behind the trust meter and how you built that.
Oh, thank you for that question. So we are very lucky that we have joined with UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Education and Peace. And the behavioral science lab and behavioral scientists are developing a groundbreaking formula where we can actually track compassion into our game. So basically, in our narrative, choice-based narrative, there is an embedded, basically behavioral science test. And by the end of the game, there is kind of getting to the finish line. That means that the player presented consistent compassion and improvement of compassion and removal of biases. Therefore, they're scientifically backed to say that they are trust and safety. This is kind of, in a way, certification, or I call it basically a driver's license, trust and safety driver's license for modern global world that I think that we all needed. And usually when people just like, oh, like, what if I just don't pass? Well, I usually say to people, well, kind of just put it bluntly, you can be complete ignorant a person when it comes to issues of sexual violence. You can come into the game, know absolutely nothing, be exposed to absolutely nothing. If you have your heart open, your compassion open, your kind of listening open, you can be a stellar player. You can go on what gamers know as a golden path, and you can have a stellar result. So you kind of, there's no any kind of knowledge or needed. This is what we forgot to mention. The game is built for people 17 plus. We are focused on youth, but this can play anyone that is interested. And I hope that it will be a beautiful challenge to get to that badge, trust and safety badge, kind of proving to society, like, yes, I am caring, compassionate person, and I hope that we will feel that as a beautiful challenge that we all wanna carry on, this digital badge to carry on our say dating apps or kind of social media, etc., etc.
Thank you. I'd love to know why youth? Why is it so important to focus on them? And is there a particular stigma or element of rape culture that you're hoping to address?
Oh, well, many reasons why we're focusing on youth. First of all, I think that that's where we start when we want to work on prevention. Unfortunately, statistics say that most of sexual violence is happening in time of youth, from 12 to 34. That's these are the highest rates of sexual harassment and sexual violence. Um, and I strongly I'm a dreamer, and I believe that our generation, we were brave and strong enough to unveil the centuries old iron wall of silence and start a Me Too movement. But that was just a start. That was a first strike. Now there is work to be done, and I believe that our generation can really end rape culture. What I mean by that, we unfortunately cannot end violence amongst humans, but we can put shame on it. So we can shift the shame from the victims onto the not just people that are committing these crimes, but people that are complicit in silence and inaction once they see these crimes happening. I think that work starts with the root cause of the problem, addressing the rape culture before it even starts being activated in the kind of that's why we need to focus on our youth.
Thank you. I'm so inspired by your pledge with this game to end rape culture with the next generation. I love that thinking. Do you have plans to work with any partners? Are there particular industries you want to get involved with this game?
Oh yes. Well, if anybody is listening that is interested to learn more or get connected, I am all hands on deck. This is an ambitious project that can be the game can be replacing sexual harassment trainings in corporations, in universities. I would be very interested to talk with dating apps. I understand that their biggest issue is still safety and kind of creating members of their communities that are deemed safe. So I think that might be a very interesting collaboration. We are already in talks with agencies that help our militaries and defense agencies around the world. That's also a big community with a big stark problem, hard to tackle and address. And of course the gaming world. I don't know how much you folks know about the world of video games, but many, if not all, of big publishers and game producers were on kind of on a backlash of how much kind of toxic environment and sexual harassment there is kind of in their industries and in games itself. That it's kind of, it's very hard to or hard or difficult to tackle issue of toxicity within video games. And how about create one action adventure that is just as much as fun regardless of the subject matter, and doing something good for our youth.
I'm really excited to play this game one day. Where are you at in the process? What are the next steps?
We have just finished the prototype. This was kind of a long journey, a lot of inventions when it comes to gameplay, a lot of inventions when it comes to trust meter and how the whole mechanic works. And the next phase, we are building the demo. With the demo, that will be kind of with all art and music and whatnot. One very small sample of a level that you'll be able to play in September. We hope to publish it, so I'll definitely keep you posted. Also, if there are sexual violence advocates that would like to help us with with the peer review of our scenarios and the narratives. As I said, we're going in more in a social emotional competency. So the whole narrative is very contextual. It's not about do's and don'ts. Therefore, because of all these nuances, it's very important for us to produce stories that are not triggering, but yet impactful for addressing the biases.
Since I've known you as a documentary producer and now a video game developer. Do you have any advice for anyone in a similar boat or looking to explore developing games to combat social issues?
Well, I am very new to developing a video game tackling social issue. Thank you for that question. My only advice of the games for good that I've seen, that very often they tend to go kind of a nosedive into the subject matter, and they happen to create worlds of this, which social issues happen in a vacuum. So I think that these are the two main points of that I would say, that like if you're creating a medium of any kind, whether it's a blog post, a film, a poem, or a video game or piece of art, in order I wish for people that want to kind of tackle rape culture, want to address issue of sexual violence, to think about their audience and bring those from the outskirts, and make it appealing for those that would not want to think about this issue. Because again, the biggest problem for all our advocates and activists is that we don't want to be kind of a singing or yelling into our echo chamber. We want to make an impact by bringing people that would not think about this subject, and getting them from kind of ignorant members of our society into an active, compassionate bystander. So think that in mind when creating any medium to address sexual violence.
Such important advice. Thank you so much. If anyone wanted to find out more information about Way Out or get in touch with you, where would they go?
You can Google my name, I think, because of J in my spelling of my first name. I think that I'm the only one so far on the internet. And you can also go to wayoutgame.com, and all the contact information will be there. And I'm very happy to chat and connect.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Daniela, for joining me today and sharing such crucial information about the use of video games to combat rape culture. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you so much to Know More and everything that you do worldwide. It's an important mission, and I'm feeling so honored and grateful to have you in my corner.
It's such a pleasure. And thank you so much to everyone who listened today. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and Know More Week. Thank you.